Hello folks, Jim here. Slightly different setting today. I thought we'd leave the boat behind for a while, and my wife and I are on a little trip through Central America. So I thought I'd do a little video and see what happened. And today we came to Chichen Itza. Chichen Itza, the famous Mayan temple. Look at that baby there. Fabulous construction. I think they were started building about between 6 and 900 AD, so that's what, 1400 years ago, give or take. And the fabulous thing about it is it's all astronomical and sacrificial. They were designed for astronomy and sacrifices. And you see, if you look down there, it's hard to see, right down there, that's a snake's head. It's a big, okay, there's a big staircase there along the side. This is the north side of the temple, and there's a staircase on both sides. There's a staircase running down there, and there's a staircase running down there. There's one on four sides. It's a four-sided temple. But there's a snake's head there, and there's a wall along the side of the staircase. And it's hard to see here, but it might go around the far side. There's the corner there, and that is a jagged, there's a basically 9-step pyramid. So there's steps on the side of that. If you move around here slowly, there are steps on the side of it. You can just see the start of the steps there now, like that. So on the spring and the autumn equinox, when the sun shines, that jagged edge there is projected with the sun onto that wall, and it looks like the serpent is coiling his way down. The serpent is a fertility symbol here. So this thing was discovered that the sun shines on those jagged edges and makes a pattern down along that wall, and looks like the serpent is going down along the wall. If you hear people clapping, they're clapping because it's supposed to be an echo from these steps. These steps are angled in a particular way to make an echo back out. Now, I've heard it said that there's 91 steps on each side, which adds up to 394 all around, 384 all around. So it's, and the one and the temple on the top is supposed to be the last one, so it's 385 days in the year. Because the Mayans were big into calendars, and they had such really good calendar systems, even compared to the Julian calendar in Europe at the same time. They were far more accurate. Now I thought I'd give you a little sweep around. That's what it's like, and that's what the famous staircase is like there, and the serpent heads. Do a quick sweep around here. It's a huge area, full of tourists obviously, but there's ball courts and buildings and temples all around. Big area. We're lucky because the sun is shining today. The sun was raining. It was raining all day yesterday here, and it would have been a nasty all day. But there's temples. It's a huge complex all the way around here. It seems this was an enormous Mayan city way back in the Middle Ages. Fantastic astronomy, fantastic calendar systems. They had calendar systems which were based on human gestation period, and they had calendar systems based on the stars. Actually, they had a solar calendar based on the sun, and it was more precise than the European system at the same time. Imagine that. But what fascinates me in these kinds of places, when you see the amount of work it took to make this. This is one monument. Now it's an enormous monument of stones, but the way people thought about things was so different, because this took generations to build. I don't know if there's any chambers inside. I've asked around, and nobody seems to know if there's chambers in it. I mean, you'd expect something that big, they would have chambers, or they would have some kind of access inside. But it seems to be all outside. 4 stairs going around the 4 sides. This monument here, I believe, was for dancing on top of it or displays or something. But it's hard to imagine that a place so big and they made one little place just for stages for dancing on top. But that's what the guidebook says, so there you go. And this is a place I would never thought I would have seen. I remember reading as a boy at home school books and books about places. This is a Mayan ball court. I remember I was always getting mixed up. There was Mayans and Aztecs and Incas, but this is Mayan, a Mayan ball court. It's a famous place where they would have a game between teams. There's a heavy round ball of rubber, 3 or 4 kilograms weight, and they couldn't use their hands or their feet. They had to use their head, I think their elbows, their knees, and they had to. There's 2 rings in the walls. There's one ring there. There's a hole. It's a hole, a stone with a hole in it, and there's another one over there. Hard to see. So the game would last for hours in this big courtyard here, this big ball court. The game would last for hours, and it was only watched by the royals and the wealthy people. There was no public allowed in to watch it. But if it took such an effort to score, to put the ball through that little hole up there, that as soon as the ball went through it, the game was over. And then the weird part is the winner, the man who put the ball through the hole, he was sacrificed. He was ritualistically sacrificed. I think there's another place over here, and then the public were allowed in, and they watched him being decapitated in public, and he got the honor of being decapitated for winning the game.
Y aquí están los demás jugadores, mira. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 y 7. La mayoría tienen un piercing en la nariz, que significa la C alta. Tienen un manos libres.
And that up there is the ring on the other side of the court. And this is how big the whole place was. A huge big court, bigger than any normal or any modern soccer pitch or football pitch or anything like that. Huge. And again, when the winner was decapitated, he was decapitated up there. The public were allowed in, 40,000, 50,000 people, local people allowed in, and the poor man was decapitated up there. It was seen as a great honour. So just imagine you're a young man, a boy, living in a village around here 1500 years ago. And there's shamans and priests and elders and the ruling class. And you knew this ball game was on every so often. And you trained for years and years and years. And eventually you got to play in this fantastic court, huge court. And there was nobody watching, only the ruling classes. And then you managed to get the ball through that little hoop up there, right there. And the honour of winning. And the honour of winning meant you were going to be decapitated and sacrificed. Sacrificed up on top of that in front of everybody else then. Imagine the mindset and the way it thinks. Like our modern mind can't comprehend that kind of culture. A culture of reincarnation, a culture of blood sacrifice. Now, it's the way they did it. I'm not saying they're wrong or right, it's just the way it was. But it's so different from the way we think now. It's unimaginable that you would train for years to take part in a sport, to win a game and be sacrificed. Imagine that. And here's an inscription on the wall in the ball court. And there's a man right there kneeling down. He's kneeling down and his head is chopped off and there's snakes coming out of his head, which was seen as a giver of life. That's the way they saw it. He was the giver of energy and life because he was honoured to be sacrificed to the gods. right here at the entrance, or the exit, I'm not sure which, of the ball court, there's another big carved snake's head. I think snake's head, and if you look along to the right there, the body, that's the body of the snake all the way back along. Just like on the temple itself, they made big long, so the body actually goes back. You see the head there, the body goes back as far as there. So these were the fertility symbols. I think snakes were seen as big, huge fertility symbols. And that's just on the entrance or the exit to this big ball court again. And there's the gangs of tourists, just like me. Here we are walking along, just come out of the ball court into the main place again. Of course, it's full of souvenirs and obsidian knives, all kinds of stuff. Like stone knives. Well, I presume that's what they are. They look like it. They're chipped, honed from pure obsidian, and that's what the priests were supposed to use to cut the hearts out of the victims. It's a very bloodthirsty trip, this. It's a lot of work to make one of those. Here's another place just between the main temple and the ball court. It's called the Wall of Skulls. So it's a wall made up of blocks, and each one has a carved skull. You can just make them out there. Hundreds and thousands of blocks, each one carved with skulls. And this here is, in one of the souvenir stands, is the rubber, kind of the rubber ball they would have used in the game inside. And it's heavy. It's at least 3 or 4 kilograms, and I can feel I can squish it. So it's a ball of pure rubber. I'll put it back now before the man gives out to me here. There you go, thank you. Gracias.
Hola hermano, por aquí tenemos los trabajos mayas de obsidiana, de cuarzo.
And the other fascinating thing about this kind of a place is this pyramid is exactly aligned north-south with the true meridian of Earth. Not magnetic meridian, I mean not magnetic north, it's true north. So well done to those guys. And once again you hear all the banging all around. All the tour guides are asking the tourists to bang and clap and hear the echoes. Now, quite frankly, I can't hear any echo, but they're all doing it. And I've come around here to the back of the, this is actually the back of the pyramid, or the south of the pyramid. And you can see that there's a lot of erosion and damage. All the rocks are falling down there. Actually, the steps are just like they're almost like casing stones on top of the internal, not rubble, but piled up rocks together. And then they put on the casing of the staircase. That's a staircase, and the edges of the staircase all the way along it. But this is the rougher side. The north side with the snakes is a much far better preserved side. And this here is known as the Temple of the Warriors, presumably because I think they found a lot of inscriptions and carvings of warriors and soldiers and prisoners tied up with all the left of the columns. And there would have been a roof over this at some stage. And behind the Temple of the Warriors we have here the Square of 1,000 Columns. It seems a big area with dozens and dozens or hundreds of stone columns all the way along there. There's a sound and a half. The guidebook said this would have been covered over, and obviously it looks like it would have been covered over, but those columns go all the way down there, all the way as far as you can see. Columns, 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 which would have been covered over, so like a colonnade for some purpose, but I don't know what. Now I've walked away from the main temple area to come into the jungle a little bit, and you see here below me is what's called a cenote. It's a sinkhole basically. It's a hole in the ground full of water, because this whole place is made of limestone. Limestone like that there, those kind of rocks, it's like called a karst limestone. Same as this, I think it's kind of close to what I have in the Burn back home. So in the whole of the Yucatan Peninsula there are no streams or rivers, because all the rainwater shoots underwater straight away through these rocks and into these underground aquifers and sinkholes. I think I remember reading as a kid, National Geographic dove into one of those and found loads of gold and jewellery and ornaments all tossed in there as sacrifices to the gods. So that's my end at my little whistle stop tour of Chichen Itza. So if you want to come here, I think there's Aer Lingus flights direct now from Dublin to Cancun, up north of here, and you jump on the bus and check it out. Fascinating spot. Well, see, these kind of places fascinate me because as a kid I was reading about them all and I never thought I'd get here, and here I am, kicking the rocks. Okay, bye for now. Good luck, good luck, good luck.